Final update. You think throwing money around makes you one of us? My mother said as my family turned my baby shower which I paid for into my sister's engagement party and locked me out. So, I made one phone call, and 10 minutes later, they showed up at my house screaming. But I was just getting started. Part 3. An employee at your company, Rachel Wright, has been reported for serious ethical violations and concerning personal behavior. Rachel has a history of financial fraud, deception, and emotional manipulation. She has been involved in multiple incidents where she exploited family members for financial gain, taking money under false pretenses and abandoning responsibilities she had committed to. I believe it is in the best interest of your company to investigate this matter further before entrusting her with any financial or sensitive information. Sincerely, Margaret Wright. I dropped the paper like it burned me. My mother, I whispered, my throat dry. My own mother sent this. Lisa watched me carefully. Rachel, I need to ask, is there any truth to this? I laughed. Actually laughed. Lisa, my mother is a manipulative, narcissistic liar. She's mad because I cut her off financially, so now she's trying to ruin my job. I exhaled sharply. And you know what? I can prove it. Lisa nodded. Okay, show me. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my emails. There it was, the fraud report I had filed against my mother and Ava, the proof that they had stolen from me. I placed my phone on the desk and let her read. Lisa's expression darkened as she scrolled. Rachel, this is serious. I know, I said. She exhaled sharply and set my phone down. All right, here's what we're going to do. This complaint? It's going straight to legal. We're flagging it as false and adding a formal note in your file that this was an act of harassment. She looked at me closely. Do you feel safe, Rachel? Do you need to file a restraining order? I blinked. I hadn't even thought that far. Did I need to? I chewed my lip, considering. Not yet. But if she keeps this up, I might. Lisa nodded. Keep me updated. And Rachel? Yeah, you're not in trouble. Don't let her make you feel like you are. I felt something tighten in my throat. I nodded, and for the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't in a long, long time, protected. 2 days later, I had barely processed the work incident when the next attack came. This time, it wasn't my job, it was my apartment. I stepped into my apartment and immediately sensed something was wrong. The welcome mat was gone, the doorbell camera ripped off, and then the mess. With shaking hands, I unlocked the door and pushed it open. Inside, trash was scattered across the floor, torn up papers mixed in with overturned furniture. In the middle of it all, a note scrawled in thick black marker, "You made your choice. Now live with it." I felt my pulse pound in my ears. I didn't need to guess who sent it, I already knew. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. 2 weeks ago, I cut off my toxic family. Since then, my mother tried to ruin my job and failed. But today, I came home to find a note slipped under my door, 4 words in her handwriting: "You made your choice." I called the police, and now it's time to end this for good. The police report. The officer stood in my apartment doorway, flipping through his notepad. His nose wrinkled from the stench of rotting meat. "You're sure no one else has a key to your apartment?" he asked. "Only the landlord, but my mother knows how to pick locks," I said flatly. He gave me a sharp look. "And you believe she did this?" I stepped aside and gestured toward the note still lying in the middle of the mess. "It's her handwriting." The officer sighed and jotted something down. "All right, we'll file a report. But unless you have a camera or a witness, there's not much we can do besides advise you to get a restraining order." A restraining order. A month ago, I would have hesitated. Now, I nodded. Let's do it. The courtroom. A week later, I sat in a courtroom across from my mother. She looked smaller than I remembered, not physically, no. Her makeup was perfect, her dress pristine. But something about the way she sat there, stiff, glaring at me like I had betrayed her, made her seem pathetic. My lawyer spoke first, presenting the fraud claims, the harassment emails, and now the breaking and entering incident. Then came my mother's turn. She scoffed dramatically, shaking her head. "Your Honor, this is absurd. My daughter has always been sensitive, emotional. She's exaggerating all of this to punish me for a simple misunderstanding." My stomach twisted, but I kept my face blank. The judge raised an eyebrow. "So you deny writing the letter?" My mother paused too long. Well, I may have written something, but it was just a note. A harmless note." The judge turned to me. "Ms. Wright, do you have a copy of the note?" I smiled and held up 2 things, the actual note and a handwriting analysis report. The judge skimmed the documents and exhaled sharply. "Mrs. Wright, this evidence is quite damning." My mother's face twisted. "But I'm her mother. You can't really think I would harm my own daughter." The judge glanced at the documents before nodding. "Given the circumstances, I'm granting the order of protection." Silence. "You can't do this." My mother protested, rising from her seat. "Rachel, honey, this is a misunderstanding." The bailiff stepped forward. "Ma'am, please step outside." She turned to me, desperate. "Rachel, I'm your mother." I exhaled, meeting her gaze. "Not anymore." And then I watched her get escorted out of my life for good. 6 months later, the peace was almost unsettling at first. No more calls, no more guilt-tripping texts, no more financial demands disguised as family love. For the first time in my life, I was free. I got promoted at work, moved to a better apartment, and most importantly, I started preparing for the person who truly mattered, my baby. One evening, as I was setting up the crib, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I hesitated, then picked up. Rachel? My stomach clenched. It wasn't my mother. It was Ava. I know I'm not supposed to contact you, she said quickly, but I wanted to say I'm sorry. I said nothing. Mom's a wreck, she continued. She still talks about you every day. But me? I get it now. She used me too. She always made me feel like I had to be the favorite, had to be better than you. But the second I needed something from her, she turned on me too. I leaned against the wall, exhaling. Why are you telling me this? I finally asked. Ava let out a bitter laugh. Because you were right about everything. And because, she hesitated, I think I need to get away from her too. I closed my eyes. For years, I had wanted my sister to see the truth, to stop treating me like competition. And now here she was, too late, maybe, but for the first time in our lives, we were on the same side. Ava, I said softly, if you're serious about getting away from her, you know where to find me. A pause. Then, thank you. Click. I set my phone down and turned back to the crib, running a hand over the soft blankets. My mother was gone. My past was behind me. And in just a few months, I'd be holding the one person who would always come first in my life. I smiled. This was the real beginning.